All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, I'm going to go over what I'm calling the meta build for this season. Now, it's not an arc build. Obviously, the resilience is bugged for Warlock and Titan right now, so builds may change with time. We have seen the new fragments come out and all of that, and they are really strong, but arc doesn't seem to be quite as potent as some of the other builds currently in the game. This build I'm calling the meta build because I know a lot of people want to know, like, hey, Lucky, what should I use? What's the strongest build in the game? What's your favorite build and all of that? And favoritism aside, because I don't even like Warlocks that much, I do think that this is the strongest build, and it's very similar to the build that we were using a lot last season. It's just we don't have Restoration now, so I'm going to go over a little bit of the variations and the things that have changed from last season. So I also talked a little about this because we were using this before the raid launch, and it worked really well for the raid day one race. It's got Well of Radiance. We're using Empowering Rift because of the exotic with Starfire Protocol. We're using Burst Glide for the fastest jump, Incinerator Snap, or Celestial Fire. Doesn't really matter either way. Incinerator Snap's a little bit better in PvE, in my opinion, unless you're trying to melee something at range for Radiant, then you might use that. Fusion Grenades, obviously, you have to use that. Icarus Dash, Touch of Flame, will make your Fusion Grenade explode twice. Okay, and then Ember of Combustion, we got Final Blows with your Solar Super cause targets to ignite. When you put down the well, any weapon you get in the well will ignite enemies, as long as it's a solar weapon. So I'm purposely using a battler with this, and this also has demo and kill clip on it. So a little bit more of a niche weapon, but you can now craft this weapon, I believe. So you go craft like a demo, kill clip, roll. And you'll have a really good roll. Or you have a roll like that in your vault, or you can use any other solar weapon. You can use Vex with it. It works well with this build. So this is really, really strong. Keep that in mind. And it works especially well if you want to rock Phoenix Protocol as well, which would be a variant exotic that I would swap to if I wanted to have just like infinite wells, which are just extremely strong in the current PvE sandbox. Next up, we got Ember of Eruption. Your solar ignitions have an increased area of effect. Obviously, it's going to help complement a variety of different things on this build. And then we have Ember of Wonder. Rapidly defeating multiple targets with your solar ignitions generates orbs of power. So you're going to make a lot of orbs on top of everything else. So keep that in mind. You can create a variety of different charge light stuff with that if you want. I don't really tap into that too much, but definitely helpful, especially you're going to be making a ton of orbs from those solar super kills with those weapons. And then power melee attacks against combatants make nearby allies radiant. And we can use that whenever we want to get a damage buff if we're not already in a well and all of that. So next up, we'll talk about the three weapons. The weapons actually do complement the entire build as well. So I would recommend, like, if you just want literally a, hey, Lucky, what's the easiest and strongest build to just throw on and just conquer anything in the game, especially King's Fall right now, especially Grandmasters when they come out, this is the build again. And so we got Wither Horde. And the reason why we're using Wither Horde is because when you're in the Empowering Rift, you need to do damage to get your grenades back. And Wither Horde does tick damage passively, so you'll do that while you're shooting your battler. It's going to be awesome. You'll be getting your fusion grenades back a ton, and you'll be doing tons of weapon damage when in between throwing those fusion grenades that are super powerful. Cataclysmic, again, solar, and we're going to tie this in with Font of Might and also any other solar kills that you could potentially get with this. And it's just the best overall boss DPS weapon. Cataclysmic has Bait and Switch, which is like 35% damage buff. 4x the Charm, which has the best ammo economy refund, better than triple tap. And so you'll be able to fire a lot more shots, especially when you're firing against enemies like the War Priest that have so much health. This is definitely the go-to weapon, and it synergizes so well because it's a solar subclass, and it will work with font and everything. So, which will stack with our buffs. We'll have double buffs and stuff. So, this is the go-to build subclass and the go-to weapons. We'll go over the armor now. We're doing a similar thing like we were doing before. We got double ashes to assets. You gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. We're throwing just tons and tons of grenades left, right, and center with this. We got Well of Life on this, so when we get a kill with that, this is going to give us the healing. This is really important now because we don't have the freebie of Classy Restoration like we did before. Classy Restoration made this build so nice because you don't have a healing rift on, so instead you have an empowering rift. When you have an empowering rift on, you're a little more vulnerable to die. And you'll notice that when you're using this, you're going to feel how, if you used it last season, and I talked about it a lot last season, that's not quite as strong as it was then. That's just because Classy Restoration's gone, but it's still extremely viable and still extremely strong, even though it's not as good as it was last season because of those artifact mods. And then we'll go down to the Gauntlet. I just have Grenade Kickstart here on, but you could really use a lot of different things. You just put anti-chant mods, not a big deal, but ultimately I'm using Elemental Time Dilation to extend the timer of Well of Life and extend the timer of Font of Might, which will be on my chest piece. Purposely have the chest piece on void, so that way I can have rainbow resist, which is solar and arc here, and void here, so that way all 3 damage types that are primarily shooting you get good resistance to. Obviously Starfire is the go-to exotic, so that way we have the extra fusion grenade, and grenade kills charge up the rift, so you have that loop of rift down, damage in rift equals grenade, throwing grenades gives you rift back, and endlessly doing a bunch of damage with that. So next up, we'll talk about the boots. All right, on the boots, we can put a variety of different scavengers or whatever you like. If you find some better mods there, you can put them there. Resilience mod, we got Seeking Wells, so that way the elemental wells come back to me, make it a lot more simpler. And then Elemental Ordnance is because we'll be making those wells by throwing all those fusion grenades. Double Bomber complements the build a little bit. It's more class build energy. Obviously 100 Resilience, and then after 100 Resilience, the primary focus will be Discipline and then Recovery. And Intellect and Strength aren't especially important, and Mobility not important at all. So that's the build. This is the meta build in my opinion. This will do everything you need to do. I'll put the dim link down in the description of this video, so you can literally just click on it. If you haven't already done this before, you can click on it and it should hopefully equip the majority of the mods and items in game. If it doesn't equip them, at least we'll show them all to you so you can take the time and sort of fill them in. And obviously you can watch this video and go through everything and equip everything exactly as I have it here, because this build is going to put in work for you for the entire season. This thing's gonna be so good. If you want to use arc stuff, obviously use arc stuff. It's like the arc season. Test out that stuff, have fun with that. It's really good, but this build is just super good survivability and extremely high offensive utility, so kind of has it all, and that's why I think it's the best build in the game right now. So put this down, and we'll demonstrate just a little bit of how it's gonna look in the game. All right, let Shirchi do a little blast. Perfect. Put the Empowering Rift down. All right, throw the fusion grenade. Fusion grenade will blow up. That's gonna make some elemental wells for me. And it didn't make an elemental. Oh, there it is. The elemental well. Now I've got the healing. I throw this down. Do some damage in this. Get the font of my timers. Boost a solar weapon. If I do put my well down, things will start to. Everything I shoot will be igniting. So the solar weapon damage. I'm gonna throw out fusion grenades like crazy. Kill the knights. Explode everything else. And it's just a really solid loop. You can see I get my fusion grenade back so unbelievably fast. I get so much super energy back, even though I literally have on just Starfire Protocol. I'll still get my super back extremely fast. And it's a really strong build. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Later.